Okay, hello guys, and welcome to this Beyonders meeting, the last one of 2025. And it's my pleasure that I can have this opportunity to be in front of you, to interact with every one of you. And today we are going to talk about something very interesting. It is definitely a public speaking lecture, a public speaking discussion, but it is unlike the ones that we are usually familiar with. It's not a public speaking 101, as you can see on the screen. I have named it as public speaking 202 because in this particular session, we will be dealing with some of the psychological aspects of public speaking, how to prepare you internally, how to feel ready rather than how to prepare things. Like you can find a lot of lectures, a lot of videos on how to make a great presentation, how to make a great video, what should be the different visual aids, your body language, so on and so forth. But there is a lack of content, a lack of resources on how to prepare you mentally, how to prepare yourself from within to be able to go up on stage, to face the crowd, and to deliver everything that you have in your mind. So, today we are going to talk about the tips and tricks in which you can channel the inner Sagan or inner Sagan within you. So, each and every one of you have that special Carl Sagan living inside with a lot of interesting stories, interesting facts, and wonderful observations that you are ready to share with the world. You just aren't confident, or you just don't know that you are capable of doing great things. So, today we are going to talk about how you can prepare yourself for occasions in which you can share everything that you have observed, you have experienced throughout your life in a very interesting, engaging, and meaningful way with your friends, your peers, your seniors, your audience, and the entire world. So, without any further ado, let's begin with today's session on public speaking 202. But let's address the elephant in the room. Why do we even need to speak to the public? I mean, you can be a researcher, you can be a scientist, and your sole focus can be to do research, to discover new things, to write research papers, and that would be a great effort to let the world know about the amazing science that you are doing. You can write research papers, you can publish them, and that's how the world gets to know. You can use your social media accounts like LinkedIn. So, why do we all have to learn how to speak to the public? Why is public speaking so important? So, to trace the answer to that question, we have to go many years back to understand how human civilization developed, how communication formed in the way that we know today. So, the question that I always ask myself, or I feel myself, is can humans really keep something to themselves? Can humans not share something they already know? Now, I would like all of you to stop and ponder over this question. Think of examples, think of instances where you just got to know some information. It can be about a sale going on in a supermarket, or an asteroid coming towards Earth, or someone going to the moon. You have a new information. What's your natural instinct as a human? I would bet that your instinct is to share it with someone. It can be your friend sitting next to you, your people, your friends who are living miles away, through a phone call or a video call, or even through social media, to anyone who comes across your feed, even if you don't know them. So, as humans, as the species, we are not good at keeping secrets. We are not good at keeping something to ourselves when we have that information. And that's the birth point or the birthplace of gossip, or the importance or the character of communication, of sharing information, of telling each other. That's how we have shared stories from the past, be it the Bible or the Vedas or the Upanishads, anything. You can look through history. Everything passes on generation after generation as stories, as experiences that grandparents share with their grandkids, and so on and so forth. So, as humans, we are fine tuned to gossip, we are fine tuned to share information. And that quality in today's modern world is called speaking or public speech. It's nothing big. That's what I want to instill in your minds, that public speaking is not a very unique skill that you need to train and not everyone is qualified. No, 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 no. Not like that at all. Each and every human is born with a quality to communicate with one another. They are born with the feature of gossiping. So you have it, I have it, everyone has it. We just need to identify what are the different barriers or the challenges that keeps us from becoming a good speaker, and to address those challenges and to know some tips and tricks by which we can make our public speaking performance from here go up until here to a much, much, much impressive level. And that's what I'm going to talk about in today's session, real quick. So, first of all, let's learn about what are the different barriers that prevent us from becoming a fluent communicator. Because once you understand your fears, you can then find ways to overcome that. So, the first barrier is the fear of judgment. Now, in the day and age of social media, when we are exposed to the world, the amount of judgment has definitely increased. And therefore, we can't even put one step forward without thinking, how would we be perceived by the world? If I'm wearing a dress, we think, what would people think when I post a picture wearing it? The way I'm posing, the food I'm eating, the way my hair looks, everything is open to judgment. And so is the way I communicate. But here you must understand that everyone is different. Diversity is the beauty of existence. And therefore, whatever costumes you wear, however you pose for a picture, whatever food you eat, or however you style your hair is all good and it's all perfect for who you are. And therefore, the way you communicate, the way you present yourself, the way you talk, be it on a stage or in your classroom or even in your bedroom, it's beyond judgment. That's how you communicate. That's who you are. And that should be a unique feature of you. Therefore, give up the fear of judgment and try to embrace the natural way in which you talk, in which you communicate, in which you share everything with your friends. Number two, it's the fear of forgetting. What if the script I prepared or every information that I learned before going on the stage, what if I forget everything while I'm talking? Let me share a secret with you. Everyone forgets. Forgetting is the basis of remembering. This might sound counterintuitive, but yeah, we forget, and that's why we try to remember. If we did not have the feature to forget, we will never want to remember anything. So, forgetting is very natural. Now, let me enact it out to you as an example. I prepared something for this particular session and I just forgot. Now, I have two ways. Number one, I can just sit blank and think, oh my God, what happened? I just forgot. What was that? I don't remember. Let me remember. Or I can turn this situation into something engaging and interesting. Like, there's a really interesting fact about this particular situation, which, by the way, is so difficult to remember. Even I forgot. I mean, I read it yesterday, but I forgot. Well, does anyone from the audience know, or can you remember the exact number for this particular event? If you can, please raise your hand and let's have a discussion. I know there are pretty well preserved and well trained people here in the audience who can remember much, much, much better than I can. You see, in this situation, I did not prepare anything, by the way, and I did not know what to say because I forgot. But I turned that situation into something more engaging, where I am playing with the audience, giving them the opportunity to interact with me, and also somehow grounding myself into much of a reality. The public speaker on stage is not someone who has achieved a lot and he is on a pedestal. He is just a common person like all of us who have the common traits, including the trait of forgetting. So instead of making it a devaluing or demeaning situation, let's just turn it into something engaging and turn it into something interesting. That's how you can change a stressful situation of forgetting what you have prepared into something more interesting and engaging. And related to all these two situations that I said about judgment and forgetting is a third one, which is a fear of rejection. What if the audience just rejects me? What if they think that I am not qualified to talk about these situations or these topics? Well, who is qualified? What is the limit of qualification? Who sets the yardstick? I think no one. It's we ourselves who imagine such situations. So we must give up the idea that, oh, maybe I might be rejected or I'm not qualified to talk on this topic, but rather just get started with it. Today you are at a beginner's level, tomorrow you can be an expert, and the day after that you will be much more than what you were. So there's no end to learning, there's no end to growing. Just embrace it. Whoever you are today is the best version of you who can be there today. And therefore, don't worry about being accepted or rejected by your crowd. Just be inside the crowd. And therefore, I use this picture from SGC from ISC 2024 in Milan, where I'm standing with my friends and colleagues, and also the president of AIAF, which is the Italian space agency, and he was also the president of IAF before, Mr. Clay Murray, and his vice president, who are way beyond what I am or what I can be. But in that situation, I'm embracing that meetup, I'm embracing that platform, and that's how you get rid of the fear of rejection and embrace whoever you are at that particular moment. And in the next few years you will definitely grow, you will become something much more. But that's not the end, that's not the defining stage of your career. So that's how you get over the fear of rejection. And finally, maybe some of you might have the fear of spotlight. That is, when people or eyes of every person is looking directly at you, you feel a chill down your spine and you feel scared of making mistakes. That's also a combination of all these three factors. Just remember, you're worth of being in the spotlight. You are definitely worthy to be under the spotlight, and therefore, once again, embrace the situation. Being the center of attention can feel intimidating, but remember that this is the new normal for you. Once you start doing things, once you start achieving great things, you become the center of attention, and it's absolutely normal. All right. Now, let me give you a few tips on how to plan and structure your speech. You can use it or call it as the speech blueprint. And the good news is it's not too long. There's just two things you need to remember. The first one is make your speech structure very simple. You don't need to overcomplicate things. You don't need to prepare a lot of things. Make it very simple. Just have a clear beginning and opening, make it interesting. The middle part, which is the most difficult part to deliver, because here you share all your information, the main core things, but mix it with some interactive discussions, some fun elements, so that the audience also doesn't get bored. They have something to cherish, they have something to engage themselves with, and you, the speaker, also doesn't get bored of speaking and speaking alone at a constant pace. That can be very boring as well, and it can derail your entire performance. So keep something in between to entertain both the speaker as well as the audience, and then end it with your full passion and heart. And that's how you can plan a simple but effective structure of a public speech. Secondly, the most important thing is know your audience. Whenever you are going to give a speech, ask the organizers who are your audience going to be, their age group, their level or educational level, or their geography, from where they belong. Why these three things in particular? The first, the age, because with age, the psychology and the grasping power of your audience changes. And accordingly, you have to design your speech structure. The style of jokes you would include or the references that you would have in your speech would be dictated by the people who are your audience. They should be able to relate to it, right? Secondly, the education level is also important because if they are school students, they won't understand complex math, complex formula, or complex concepts. So you have to dilute it to a level that is easily graspable. But if you keep it very simple and very grassroots for people who are PhDs, for example, sitting in your audience, they might feel it to be very surface level and not engaging enough or not insightful enough. Therefore, you have to know the level of your audience and the intellectual capacity of their grasping abilities. And the third is geography. Why geography is required? Again, every reference you make, be it pop culture reference or scientific reference, has to be relevant to the geography from where they belong. Otherwise, they won't be able to relate to it that much. Therefore, it's important to know the geography in which your audience is based so that you can fine tune your speech accordingly. And also, sometimes you have to know the languages in which they are comfortable in. For example, if I'm talking to a native English speaking community or native English speaking audience, I would use a much more fluent and quick version of English because I know whatever I say, they can understand really easily. But if I'm talking to an audience who are not native users of English, I would slow my English down. I would not use really complicated words, really big words, just to make it easier for them to grasp everything that I'm sharing. Because the end goal of any public speech is to communicate with the people, not to show my level of English or how well I can use complex words in English, right? So that's why we have to make sure that whatever we are speaking is well received by our audience, and language plays a very important role, and that's why knowing your audience is definitely extremely important. All right, moving on. The secret formula of how you can refine your public speaking skill is again practice. So rehearse aloud regularly. Do this in your bedroom before you're going to sleep or whenever you have free time, but speak out loud. Don't just read your script or your speech in mind, because reading in mind is a big illusion. It is not a clear reflection of you speaking. Although you might feel like, okay, I'm imagining myself standing on a stage and addressing the audience, but I'm doing it inside my mind. The problem here is your mouth muscles are not getting trained. Your brain muscles are getting trained. Your mind is knowing everything it has to speak. But what about the muscles here? The cheek muscles, the lips, the muscles just above and below your lips. All of these muscles play a very important role while you are speaking. For example, these muscles here, the tension on these muscles will determine the vocal texture, the way in which you are delivering. Just like before running a marathon, you have to warm up your muscles, your leg muscles, your body to be able to run the entire marathon. Just before public speaking or speaking to anyone, you have to train your muscles of the mouth. You have to warm up them before you go up on stage so that you can deliver an excellent presentation. A good way to practice yourself is definitely recording yourself and watching back. And when you watch back, don't just listen to what you are saying, you also watch your body language. Therefore, when you record yourself, the first time you are listening it back, just listen. Don't watch yourself. Just listen the way your speech sounds, the quality of the sound. In the next iteration, mute your phone, turn off your sound, and just look at you enacting on the stage or in your practice area to see how does your body sound looks like, how does it feel, what sort of gestures are you making, what sort of movement, are you standing straight, are you standing too proud, or are you using your hand a lot, Where are your hands? Is it too close to your face? Is it too low? All of these things matter. We can talk about them in much detail maybe in a later session, where I can teach you more about the exact nuances of body language, where your hands should be, what's considered as a safe zone, and so on and so forth. And finally, mix your sound and your visuals and watch the entire playback video together to understand how all these elements of your speech combine to make sure that you are delivering your speech perfectly. And finally, you can simulate real conditions. So you can ask your friends to sit down on a chair, on a few chairs, and you can deliver a speech to them just to prepare and give your mind and body a simulated environment of how it would look on a stage where a lot of eyes are exactly pinpointed on you, and how you can deliver your speech there standing straight and proud. And finally, let's talk about the language basics, because I was already touching upon that part of body language and how important it is. For now, you must just remember that two things play a very crucial role when you are speaking to the public. The first one is your eye contact. So you cannot speak to the audience without looking at them. You can't look up or below or sideways or at your PPT presentation and give a full lecture or a full speech. That's not how natural speaking looks like. You have to look at the people to whom you're talking. That way, you engage directly with them. But I know looking directly into the eyes of people who are already looking at you can be very intimidating. So, a quick tip here is focus on their cheek, the left one, the right one, and in between on the forehead. Okay? Make a triangle. Always make a triangle when you are looking at anyone. That way, you are not directly making eye contact with a person who is sitting in the audience, but it gives an illusion because you're far on the stage. It gives an illusion that you're looking at them at their eyes, but you are actually avoiding eye contact, but you're looking in the areas that are closer to the eyes. Therefore, you're not taking in their eye emotion, because emotions are well described on the eyes and it can intimidate you. Knowingly or unknowingly, the audience can give away a lot of different emotions which can make you nervous on stage. Therefore, it's always good to look at them, give them an illusion that you're looking at them, but still avoid eye contact. And that way, your body language will stand out to be extremely perfect. The second one is your hands gesture, because hands convey a lot of message even without speaking. So that's non-verbal communication. And here in the images that I have attached here, you can see how my hands remain at the level from my stomach to the chest. This is called the safe zone or the confident zone of hand movements. And you should always keep your hands there, not too high because it would look insane, or too low, that would signal that you are suffering from lack of confidence. So that's the safe zone of keeping your hands and moving them. The rate at which you should move your hand also has a particular range that defines that you are confident, you are comfortable, but not over eager or not suffering from a lack of confidence. Again, these things take a lot of time and we can have separate dedicated sessions on them. So if you want more sessions on public speaking, on body language, on the tips and tricks in which you can become a better speaker, let me know in the chat section. You can write down that you would like to have more sessions with me on public speaking, on different tips and tricks. If you have any particular topic in mind, also let me know in the comment section, in the chat section, so that I can know. And probably in 2026, we can make plans for such sessions as well. Here's another tip, the vocal delivery tips. I don't know if you have noticed while I was speaking with you today that throughout my presentation, I have used different tones and pitches. Sometimes I have gone really high and shown you very eager tone, while at other occasions I have slowed down and I have weighed down my words, made them slow, so that you feel that these words have more gravity attached to it. There's more value to it, and therefore I am slowed down. The other point that's related to the first point is pausing before emphasizing any crucial point. So you might notice that while I'm speaking, I am using a lot of different types of tones, a lot of different types of pacings and pitches. But when I have something really important and really useful information to share with you, something that will enhance your public speaking skills from 5 to probably a 10, I'm pausing. Because this pause somehow influences our brain to be eager and to think that something big is coming. Therefore, we must pay more attention because what he's going to say next is really important, is really crucial. That's you can say that that it's an illusion, but it works. And therefore, how you use your voice determines how good of a speaker you become. So remember, changing tone and pitch thoughtfully, not always, not irrationally, but at key moments to add more impact, and to pause before emphasizing a point, before giving out your key delivery will definitely enhance your public speaking skills. But to do that, you also need to train your voice because our voice is just like a flute. You can imagine it's an air channel here that is formed by our vocal cords. And here we have the vocal cords, which you can compare to the strings of a guitar and the air chamber. So, how air flows through your throat and how the vocal cords vibrate defines or determines the timbre, the texture, the amplitude, the pitch of your voice. You must have learned all of that in physics. Now it's a time to apply it to your own voice. Therefore, you also have to do a lot of exercises for your voice, which again is a separate topic. And we can have different sessions on what are the different ways to make your vocals become more heavy or more high pitched, more amplitude, more loud. How can I control my volume? And how can I articulate words more clearly? All of those things depends on how well you can exercise your throat and your voice and your vocal cords. So we can have detailed discussions on those, but for now remember your voice is a very powerful tool. Use it wisely and it will enhance your public speaking by many folds. And of course, remember to engage the audience. So you might have already experienced this that when you're in a lecture, in a class, and the teacher is speaking and speaking and speaking without asking any questions, without allowing you to ask any question, it feels so boring, right? It feels like just nothing is going inside the head. In any public speaking situation, that's the case. If the speaker continues talking for hours long, it's not going inside the head, it's not making an impact, and it's just like a sleeping pill for the audience. So remember to make sure that your conversation feels more like a conversation. The speech is not a lecture on a stage, and you give equal opportunity for your audience to interact with you, to ask questions, to participate in some activities, to answer something, to guess something, and so on and so forth. And when you engage the audience, it's not just the audience who is benefiting, but you are benefiting yourself because you're getting more topics to talk about. Something interesting might come up from your audience, and that opens up a new direction for you to have a very meaningful and detailed conversation. And it keeps the momentum going. It gives you a few seconds to rest as well. You might have noticed that even today, this is a recorded session, but I am asking you to constantly use the chat section to express your thoughts, to write something. On the surface level, it might seem like a strategy I'm using to keep you engaged, which is true, but also it's giving me some time to relax, giving me some time to think what am I going to talk about next, and overall making the entire atmosphere more well connected. It's feeling more like a conversation rather than me speaking, right? So these are some of the things that you must always keep in mind while you are talking at the stage. All right. So I think we are almost at the end of today's session. So here are my final thoughts for all of you. Let me know what you feel about this session so far. What are your thoughts that you're having right now? Let me again know in the chat section. Go there, put them. But my final thought for you is take the first brave step. It always starts with that first step, with that first leap of faith. So you might feel that you're not ready right now, which is absolutely fine. Everyone feels that. Even I feel, even today, that I'm not ready. I was feeling that before recording this session as well. But then no amount of preparation would ever prepare me for the final showdown. The only thing that is under my control is taking the leap of faith, is to jump in and get started. And once I get started, there's no turning back, there's no looking behind. So, all of you should also practice taking the first step, just jump in, take the leap. And once you get started, there's no looking back. And you will just go on and on and on because it becomes your habit. As I started in the first slide, gossiping and talking and sharing is in our blood, is in our genetics. So make sure, so I'm really sure that public speaking would never be a problem for anyone. And once you get started, once you take the first step, you are not going to stop. You're not going to take a step back. There's not going to be any looking behind. So you just need to get started. The starting is difficult. It takes a lot of courage, but be confident in yourself. You are a born natural speaker. So just get away with that. All right. So I think that brings us to the end of today's session. I'm really grateful for the opportunity and for your audience and patience that you have shown today. This is going to be the last Beyonders meeting for this year. So I wish all of you a very happy new year. I hope 2026 brings a lot of fun and excitement and exciting opportunities for all of you. And all of you can grow and achieve all your targets that you have set for 2026. Make sure to take care of yourself and have good health. And if you have any questions regarding public speaking, regarding anything that you want to ask me, I think this is a good time to put down all your questions in the chat section. I will be happy to answer them. And if I am not there in the Beyonders meeting right now, because I don't know if I will be there or not when this video will go live, or if you're watching it on YouTube, you can reach out to me by the email ID research.life2andbeyond@gmail.com that you can see on the screen. And you can also visit our website for more interesting information and contact details. And if anytime you are in Russia by chance, by mistake, then you can find me in the address that's mentioned on the screen. Thank you so much for your patient audience. It was wonderful to talk to you about a topic that is really close to my heart, and I enjoy talking with people. And I hope that we will have many interesting sessions in 2026 waiting for you. So thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day. Have a great new year. See you all soon. Bye bye.